Ah, Democrats. The far left Democrats, I would say. You have really angered the so-called the people, the people, and I would say the Muslim people of Michigan. You guys are really not seeing the reality of what you're doing here, and it's really starting to backfire on you guys very, very badly. And I love to see it. Let's get directly into the article. Hundreds of Muslim protesters shut down Michigan school board meeting over sexually explicit LGBTQ plus books. The majority of those who attended the Monday's Dearborn Public Schools Board meeting and took a stand against the books were Muslim. There were also a handful of counter-protesters present to defend the books, including members of the American Federation of Teachers Union. Let's take a look at some of these videos, eh? Yeah, it says shouting between various factions as groups take over Dearborn Public Schools board meeting. Board members have left, unclear if they're coming back or if meeting will start. Heavy police presence. There was a large police presence at the meeting, but officers struggled to maintain control of the situation, even as it surpassed the building's fire capacity. Protesters held signs including "Keep your dirty books in the closet," "Keep your porno books to yourself," and "Homosexually big sin." Packed crowd in Dearborn for school board meeting tonight discussing LGBTQ plus books in schools if democracy matters were in the majority re-signed. Homosexually big sign says another. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the homosexuality thing. Obviously, I think people that are gay, etc., are not necessarily a problem. I think they should have rights just like everybody else. Of course, this is religion, and religion is making them look and do stuff like this by reality, and that's just not okay. It's the reason why I kind of stepped away from religion when I was a very younger kid, even back then, specifically just because of the fact that I didn't agree that my religion, the books were telling me that homosexuality was bad, and these people shouldn't be allowed to do this or this or this or get married, and that was completely against my type of way of thinking. And I was always on the lines of, if as long as you're not bothering people, you feel free to do whatever the hell you want. And it seems that the Muslims obviously do not think the same way, which is a bit disturbing to me in that matter. I think that everything else that they say is correct, but the homosexuality thing is they don't really get my side on. If people want to be a homosexual or be gay or what have you in the school and they're not harming people, let them be that way. Don't force that stuff or that ideology onto other people and kids. That is not acceptable. Overflow crowd here at Dearborn Public Schools board meeting for debate over LGBTQ books. AFT union here in support of books. One of Michigan's most prominent faith leaders, Imam Hassan al-Kwenzi of the Islamic Institute of America in Dearborn Heights, directed his followers to protest during his sermon on Friday, according to a report from the Detroit Free Press. Some of those books are completely inappropriate for our children to read, Kwenzi said. According to the report, some of those books promote pornography, some of them promote homosexuality. We don't need this. Go and attend this meeting. Dearborn police officer warns crowd to stop yelling and interjecting when school board is speaking. Some are booing board for not doing enough to remove LGBTQ books. A meeting of Dearborn schools has descended into chaos and confusion as board members walked out. Mobs opposed some LGBTQ plus books took over the meeting as various factions jousted over power. Police themselves were unsure if the meeting was still on. Vote them out. Crowd chants. It's not seeming very good. The report explained Al-Qawani and the others said they would have the democratic right to decide what is appropriate in their schools since their faith is now in the majority. Dearborn is about 47% Arab American, most of them Muslim, and Dearborn Heights is about one-third Arab American according to census data. Recent protests involved demonstrators who appeared to be mostly Muslim, but one of the key organizers, Stephanie Butler, is Christian and appeared at both events. We don't need these books in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights, Al-Qawani said. Take them somewhere else. The majority rules. If you're the majority of people in Dearborn, you decide for your children. We live in a democratic society, and there are certain tools and techniques with which you can change the law in this country. Added, they are proponents of democracy, but only if it supports liberal values. The moment it goes against liberal values, they are authoritarian and they want to impose their own values on people. During the meeting, several protesters spoke out and led chants, including "Vote them out." We're going to send a message to the Board of Education, Professor Hassan said. According to the report, we, the people, put you in this position. We put you on the chair. We elected you. Hey, go my brother. Go my brother. Yes, that is 100% correct. The government serves the people. The people do not serve the government. A gay man who attended the meeting to counter protests had to be escorted to his vehicle by police as protesters shouted at him, "Leave our children alone." The protesters have the support of the Council on American Islamic CAIR, a typically leftist organization which is now helping Muslims protect their religious right to keep explicit materials away from their children in public schools. The meeting has now been rescheduled for Thursday at Forson High School, which can hold a large crowd. Yes, you have angered the Muslim community, and rightfully so. As I said, I don't really agree with the homosexuality thing, but I think what they would also again, what I could flip on the side is that what they can mean on homosexuality in terms of this, which probably isn't the case, but let me reiterate, is that they probably don't want homosexuality type of ideals or ideology being pretty much putting into their schools and showing to their kids, etc. They don't want that stuff in there at all, period. Which I can 100% agree on. If you don't really want your kids being forced to read or do this type of stuff, then by all means that they shouldn't do that type of stuff, obviously. And if this is down to more of a other issue to where they just don't want that stuff because they're homophobic and stuff like that, then yeah, that's a problem, and I don't think that should really be allowed. But if they're saying they do want this stuff shown to their kids and they don't want all the stuff I like to push onto the kids, that's 100% okay, and I have zero problem with that whatsoever. That is what they want, and they have every right to voice those opinions, and they have every right to want change. Now, let me be perfectly clear. Even if they are homophobic, that is still their right to actively want to view that way or have that right to have that way of thinking. This is America, and they should all be allowed to have that way of thinking. I think it's wrong, but I am not going to counsel them. I am not going to say, I'm not going to put them in jail or etc. or want them to put them in jail, etc. because of the way of that thinking. I think that way of thinking is wrong, but they're entitled to their opinion. They're entitled to that right. But I agree with majority of what these parents and what these people want. They're 100% to right that it is against their rights, etc. And they should 100% evoke that. I hope the Michigan school, really starts agreeing to the people, because if they don't, they're going to have a bigger issue with the Muslim community, and all the more power to them. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.